Hi, Brittany.
Hi, from North Carolina.
I miss you,
I
like a
miss
little bit.
you. A little bit.
So Brittany left me last night, which is like fine, I guess. She's going back to her homeland, her people.
I am. Had to come take a little break from LA and, regroup and see the fam and just unwind a little bit.
You're wearing a very like southern top. Can we get like a full top
I
top
mean,
view?
it's a little sweater. It's like a little crop sweater. I'm on.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was cropped. There's a lot of lace and crochet going on over there.
Listen, when I come home, I just revert back to the old ways and walking around in Lily Pulitzer and, hair bows.
I never owned Lily Pulitzer.
No, me either. That's why the day that Brittany wears Lily Pulitzer will be
Will be the day.
hell freezes over.
Have you seen those things that say, I don't know, like how everyone gets on different sides of talk. Right now I'm on like lover era talk, which is a little sickening.
Oh, mine too.
But like the talk I saw recently was saying that when you start liking pink again is when you're like in your lover era.
I love pink though. All the time.
You're like, I've always been in my lover era. What the fuck's wrong with you guys? So we're gonna devote an entire episode. I've gotten a ton of DMs recently about like why the fuck don't I talk about being single anymore? And
because we finally aren't single, and that's exciting, right? It took a long time.
yeah, sure. I mean, it did take a long time. I don't know how exciting it is. We can deep dive that, but we are going to do a whole episode on basically being single, my experience, your experience, the decisions we've made through it, what we would do differently, and kind of like some learning points I've had. And I want to start this off by saying one of the conversations that we've had probably the past 3 months since I got in a relationship has been this idea that bold opinion that I have and that I think I've convinced you of is that your life does not get better. The grass is not greener just because you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because I distinctly remember you saying to me one day, being like, aren't you just so happy to have someone to go home to?
Yeah. Because I think, like when yes, some days you come home and you're like so glad that you're walking into an empty house and nobody's there to bother you. And you're like, oh my God, I can put on my like weird nightgown that no one sees and I can like just grease my hair and put on a mask. But at the same time, it's like, how nice is it at times to come home and be able to like make dinner together and, have that person like bring you dinner or like you're like, oh, what movie are we gonna watch? It's like the mundaneness of it. I think people take for granted when they have it, and then when they don't have it, they like miss it.
Miss for sure. And I guess like you have been in a relationship more recently than me, so I feel like you miss it more than I did. I got to a point where like it is more uncomfortable for me now to be in a relationship.
Well, I think I will agree with you that I think my next relationship, it'll probably be, I've gotten so used to my routine, especially in Los Angeles, that when that person comes into my life, I'm probably going to be kind of like, oh God, like what, I don't know what, I go to the gym at this time. Like, I don't like you interrupting this of mine. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's where I'm going to have to like,
and you know what's so interesting is that it's not big things. It's very little things, right? But it's like I go to the gym. I go to a 6 a.m. gym class every day. My boyfriend is a night.
Whenever you didn't show up.
I know. My alarm didn't go off. It was 6:30. I looked at it and I was like, she's gonna fucking kill me. But he goes to the gym at night. Now, if I'm getting up at 5:30 to go to the gym and he's not getting done with the gym till 8:30, it makes it very difficult to date during the week.
Oh,
because
for sure.
Yeah, because if I'm getting up at 5:30, I'm not staying up past 10.
Right, like bedtime's probably like 9. Like I'm unwinding at 8:30.
Yeah, because I'm getting up at 5:30. If he's getting home from the gym at 8:30 or getting done at the gym at 8:30, he's still got to eat, shower, watch a TV show, and decompress. He's not even thinking about bed till 11.
And then think I have sex then.
Yeah, and like I've got to lose out on sleep to sleep with my boyfriend. Like, So this whole like Monday through Thursday thing is problematic. This week we literally didn't see each other Monday through Thursday because he was working out after work and I was working out before work and it like didn't work. Thank God I was also on my period. So I was like, well, if you come over, we're not banging anyways. And then he was like, that's cool. I'll see you Thursday.
But also, I think that is like probably harder whenever you're newly dating and you're still like you're like forming the relationship. I wonder if that routine gets easier after you like are living together. You know what I mean? Because then it's a little bit more like you kind of, you know, that person's going to kind of be there and you can kind of get more into like a set routine. And it's not so much like, am I coming to your house? Are you coming to my house? I have to pack a bag. Like, I need this. Should I pack a bag for 3 days, 2 days? Like, can I leave shit at your house? Like, that's when it's just like, you know what? Never mind. I'm just staying at mine.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think I agree. I think I think it'll get easier when and if we move in together. Not saying we're going to, but like when and if that happens, right? And then I think it gets
Don't spring that on me on this podcast. I'm not ready for that.
But then I think it gets harder when you have a family.
Yeah.
Like,
but then if you have kids and you work out in the morning and he works out in the afternoon, that's nice because you're going to have to rotate like that. You know what I mean? So then when are you going to see each other?
This is when I think, like, I remember distinctly when I was probably in my 20s hearing about couples that would sleep in separate bedrooms. And I'm suddenly like, I get it. I fucking get it. Like, I want to do my own thing. I want to actively sleep Monday through Thursday. Paige was talking about how on her podcast, how she was like, yeah, we need separate bedrooms. Like, I will go to bed with you, then I will scurry off from 11 to 5, then I'll come back. And I'm like, perfect. Works for me.
Yeah. I mean, yes, ideally that would be great if you could really scurry off and then be back in time to wake up. But like that probably wouldn't happen. I do know couples that, and I've even heard my parents talk before about their friends that have always had separate bedrooms. I personally am a little traditional. I would hope that, you know, we are able to share a bedroom and everything. But I also get it, you know, like I
get cranky if I don't get sleep.
Yeah.
Like I need full, like my boyfriend can go 6 hours. I'm like, give me 8.5.
Yeah. But
like,
and then you wake up like a ray of fucking sunshine and you're like ready to go.
He the other day was literally like, Eve, it's torture for the first 40 minutes with you. Then I was like,
yeah, I know.
I'm here.
I'll get text messages at like 7 a.m. and she's like, so what's the plan for today? When are we recording? What time do you want to meet? And I'm like, I have just rolled over and opened my eyes. I have no idea where my phone is at the moment.
But I will say, like, the best thing ever. So I've been dealing with, this is a serious topic, but I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression probably for the past, like, I don't know. It's been like relatively bad for the past 4 months. I've gone through ebbs and flows with it. It's been relatively bad for the past 4 months. And every day when I like, because we were talking about this, like getting better at when I like make a mistake or when something goes wrong or you have a fight with your friend or whatever, not just being like, I'm so programmed to be like, well, tomorrow's a new day, you know? And I want to get better about like not, because that's why I wake up like that. It's because I'm like, it's a fresh day. Nothing from yesterday counts. People talk about anxiety. I'm like, never had it. Wake up today. Yesterday didn't happen.
Yeah. I can't relate. Something will bother me and I'll like stew in it for like 2 weeks and then I escape to North Carolina and you know,
very fair. If I had the ability to go home more, I definitely would. I was talking to my mom about that today. So I guess going back to where we were going with the grass not being greener, let's talk about some of the things that suck about being in a relationship that I think you forget suck when you're single, because when you're single, like I want to preface this by saying this episode is meant for the single girls to remember the good parts about being single.
Right.
And remember that I think it was Tinks that said, you know, might have been, I don't remember who it was basically saying like, anytime you're sad over the holidays, you have to remember that this could be your last holiday single and romanticize that. Right. So along those lines, let's romanticize some of the good parts about being single. And I will say, I absolutely fucking hate sleeping beside a man who wants to cuddle all night. Like I don't know what possesses them to want to wrap you like a burrito and then they're heavy breathing like
and their body heat, and you're just like sweating to death, and you're like, get off me, please.
Literally. And then they start snoring. It's like in your ear, and you can't move. You're like in a headlock. They also like they don't cuddle soft. It's like a headlock.
Yeah. It's like a grip.
When you're single, don't forget about how nice it is to sleep in that cool bed with the cool pillowcase.
Yes, and you just cuddle with that really fluffy pillow or your dog.
Also, men, not so great in the bedroom. Well, sometimes, but not regularly, not always. You got to train them up. When you're single, you want to masturbate? Do it anytime you want. Wake up in the middle of the night and do it. 6 a.m. do it. No one's asking questions. You can put your phone on porn. No one's looking at you. No, you could be in an oversized t-shirt with honey mustard running down it, a pizza on the bed beside you. Yeah, with your vibrator.
With like, your face light on.
You take that for granted. You do. You take that for granted because now I gotta be like, he's coming over tonight. I don't know. He's probably gonna want to bang, and then like it's a whole thing. You can vibrate with hair down there. You don't even have like you guys take that for granted.
Speaking of being single, like I remember one time this experience happened. I had a friend of mine that ended up coming over, whatever, after a night out that we had been kind of hanging out.
A girl.
A guy.
Who's your friend?
And he, we were going to bed and he like pulls my bed back and I was expecting to have guests. So I had like I
forgot about this.
My face light was in the bed and my vibrator. And he was like, what are both of these things? And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, it just kind of sits in bed with me. And he was like, do you wear both? Are they used simultaneously? And I'm like, sometimes if I'm alone, I'll be taking care of my skin and myself.
What do they call it? Habit stacking?
Like, probably on somewhere.
So true. Other things. Okay. So I don't get a ton of acne. I've never been like gotten a ton of pimples, but every now and again, like the week I have my period, I get like a big one, right? I know it's terrible. I don't care. It's my secret pleasure. If I wasn't a lawyer, I'd be an esthetician. I love going at a pimple. I love it. And you can't do it in a relationship.
Whenever you have a boyfriend living, I mean, you can. I mean, once you get to a certain point, you aren't going to care about all that mess, right? Like,
no, but I go like it's red. It's
yeah.
And then I come out of the bathroom and it's like, what the fuck did you do to your face? I want to do that in peace.
But also, like, your boyfriend doesn't really care about that. That's not as bad as if you were like, I don't know. I can't think of like a single bad behavior that's like super weird that people might do that. Like, what if you like clipped your toenails and like ate them or something? Like, that would be gross and weird that your boyfriend might be like, that's disgusting. I had no idea about that.
I used to date a guy who clipped his toenails and didn't like watch where they went. He'd just be on the couch clipping, flying places.
No. Okay, I got one.
So you guys, just putting that out there, you single people don't have to deal with flying male toenails.
Or you don't have to deal with hair. You know how like men shave and trim and they don't know how to clean it up properly? And they're like, oh, I cleaned it out of the sink. No. And it's just like little micro hairs all over the sink, all behind it. And I hate gross bathrooms and gross kitchens. Those are like my two biggest things. And I'm like, you have to like wipe all of this up. I remember when I was married, that used to drive me nuts. Or when they would pee all over they like miss the toilet
everywhere.
And your bathroom's disgusting. I think you need separate bathrooms. I would agree with that over bedrooms. Separate bathrooms, 100%.
Separate bathrooms for sure. Separate bathrooms. I don't like. Also, oh my God, I have to tell you the most embarrassing thing. So we went to, I mean, it wasn't that embarrassing. I was embarrassed, but like men, you have to also deal with them doing like ridiculous things in public. So we went to Watergirl last night for dinner.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how sometimes when you eat like seafood or whatever, they give you one of those hot towels like to wipe your hands off or whatever?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. They like put it down and you're like, you got sticky fingers from eating the mussels or whatever. Glenn fucking starts wiping his face.
Has the boy never been to fine dining experience before?
At Watergrill, at the bar, Glenn takes the flannel and fully doing this in front of everybody. And I was like, what are you doing?
Isn't the spot Equinox with the eucalyptus towels? Like, what the fuck? What do you say? That's so cute though. That's kind of like funny.
Well, and he thought that the reason I didn't do it was because I had makeup. He was like, oh, I understand you can't do it because your makeup. And I was like, no, even if I didn't have makeup, I would not be washing my
But like he knows like classiness. Like doesn't he know like fine dining? Like,
just a boy. He's just a boy. Like,
oh, that's kind of funny though. I would okay, if it was like a first date, I'd probably be kind of like, what the heck? But then I would also kind of probably laugh and think it was funny, and I'd be like, okay, whatever.
it was actually you'll enjoy this. He told me, so he's decided he's gotten really into my TikToks.
Oh Lord, like old TikToks?
No, thank God.
Okay.
He doesn't have but he told me last night, he was like, I have a TikTok I want to make tonight. And I was like, okay. So have you seen the one that's going viral about the guy with like the morning routine? And he like, it's his like 4:30 to 9 before his job. And it's like 4:30, like did 20 push-ups, 4:32,
yes.
like wiped the sand on my face. He was like, I'm going to do one. And I was like, okay. And he was like, it's going to be like 5 a.m., snooze the alarm. 5:30, snoozed it again. 6, snoozed it again. 6:30, cat threw my phone off the dresser. 6:35, cat threw it off again.
Okay, that's
7,
funny.
8. I know. And I was like, where are you gonna put it, Glenn? And he was like, on your TikTok. And I was like, you want to make a TikTok? And he was like, yeah, tonight. He was like, I'm gonna come over. He was like, do you have some eye patches I could wear too? And like a nose strip?
Oh wow, he's like diving deep. But like, did you tell him that's your TikTok? And he might need to create no. Glenn, I think he should create a TikTok and let it be Glenn in LA.
That would be hilarious.
That would be really funny. Kind of like how yours original was single in LA.
Yeah.
That would be
funny. Oh man. Okay, so
we're getting
sorry, we're off topic there, but it was just him with the flannel, and I was okay. When you're single, you don't have to tell anybody when you're coming home. And whether I'm like out with you or by myself or whatever, and I get it's a safety thing. Like he wants to make sure I got home safe. He wants to make sure I'm good, but like, I don't know. And I don't want to have to explain why it's 2 a.m. and I'm eating a hamburger on the side of the road with you. I don't want to have to explain that, you know? Or maybe I don't want to answer the phone.
Yeah, I think, but that's just more like, out of being polite and respectful of the relationship, right? Because if it was vice versa and your man was out at 2 a.m., you'd probably be like, where the hell are you?
No, 1000%. But this was about the good things about being single. Understand?
The good things, I agree with you on that. Okay, another one is you can go on whatever trip you want. And you can go with your girlfriends. And if your girlfriends are single too, one of the best times I've ever had was a European summer single. Everyone needs to go to Europe single. So I think, I feel like in your 30s, you have money to do it. You're able to do more things. So live it up. That is like summertime single.
There's fun. My fucking party. You also like not okay. And this, I digress a little bit, but we were talking earlier about should you change your appearance for a guy? And I have in the past, right? So like my ex-fiance really liked Hispanic women. And like his screensaver was like, it wasn't Kim Kardashian, but it was like somebody like that or whatever. And I remember being like, I am a 5'11" blonde bitch. Like if you think I'm anything looking like this, like 5'1" Latina, like we're not cut from the same cloth. And I was like, if you like her, you probably don't like me. Anyways, I dyed my hair brown. This is going back to the bangs.
Yes.
I've done a lot of hair stuff for men. Dyed my hair brown. And it looked horrible because I did it out of a box. But I posted something the other day on TikTok talking about whether you should change your appearance for the guy you're with. And I have mixed feelings about it because I think on the one hand, no, be who you are. They should like who you are. But on the other hand, in a healthy relationship, the same way there's things that I like or I think my boyfriend's more attractive in.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are things he finds me more attractive in or hairstyles he likes better. And if it's healthy and I also like the hairstyle or the clothes,
it gives you more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so like, it's the same way, for example, in the bedroom, you should talk about what you like or don't like. In terms, like, he's obviously attracted to me. He started dating me. But if he hates bangs, I'm probably not going to come back with a full blood cut, like.
Or it's like little things, like a man in a Henley. Like that's always attractive. Like I like guys like in a Henley.
Oh, see, I don't like a guy in a Henley.
So like I find that attractive, and sometimes like, or like if a guy's like, oh, I love when you wear little dresses, like you're probably gonna wear those more because he
Right.
likes that. You know what I mean? Or he
Right.
finds you cute or sexy or hot in those.
But the flip to that is talking about, again, the benefits of being single. You can do absolutely whatever the fuck you want with your appearance. You can try whatever
you
you
can try
want.
new things. You can chop
You
your
can,
hair off if you want.
yeah. And you're not like, not that you owe it to your partner to not do these things while you're with them, but I probably wouldn't buzz cut my hair in a relationship and then be like, oh, you don't love it? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you, bitch? You know, like I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But there are things, for example, I've always wanted to try red hair.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't try something so drastic right now.
But some people might come back and say, well, whenever you are in a like relationship, that's the
When
safe
it's safest to do it.
relationship, that's whenever you should, because your person's going to like you for you. And why not just experiment and see
I have to do my
things?
teeth. It's really bothering me.
I mean, I went through like a journey. Was it last year?
Like,
2 years ago.
ignore me. You're just like, why is Eve staring at her teeth?
Yeah, you know, it's fine. I just ignore. But
You ignore me all the
like
time.
2 years ago, I was going through like a weird hair journey where I was like, 1 month I was brunette, 3 months I was a redhead, then I was a blonde, and then I was
I forgot about this.
Do you
Yeah, you
remember?
did.
I like could not figure out what I wanted to do with my hair. I was like, and it was when that Copper Cowboy was in. I was all over the place, and I was like, but you know what? I'm dating around. You might meet me as a redhead, but sometimes do you ever like your personality changes with the hair color that you have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at a guy and I was blonde, and then I dyed my hair brown, and we hooked up again after that, and I felt like I had to text him in advance and be like, hey, I chopped my hair off and it's now brown.
Old opinion.
What?
Guys take you more seriously as a brunette than as a blonde. Bold opinion.
Well, I don't know that that's that bold. You don't think most people think that?
I don't know. That's my opinion. It's bold for me.
Like, that's me. Well, it's the whole like stereotype, like ditzy blondes, like that's the whole thing. It's like the same way they say fiery redheads, ditzy blondes, like girl next door brunettes. Like, yeah, they all have stereotypes. I'm trying to think, like, am I taken more seriously as a brunette? It's kind of hard because like I went brunette about the same time I got in a relationship. Right. So it's like, yeah, I'm kind of taken more seriously.
Yeah. Did you get more attention with your long blonde extensions?
I don't know because I'm not seeking out attention right now.
Yeah. That's a good
it's like hard to know. I definitely got more attention when I lost weight.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, that
was
thing.
I'm just kidding.
Right. No, I definitely got more attention when I lost weight. That's also wild. I was thinking about this the other day, like when you're single, well, because I probably gained 7 or 8 pounds since getting in this relationship. And I was thinking, like, when you're single, generally speaking, if you're dating, I feel like it is so much easier to stay skinny single. That's something you don't think about.
Well, I think it's also like you got to think about like it's like the relationship weight they say, but I don't think it's out of comfortability. I think it's because you finally have a consistent person that you're like, oh, let's go try this, let's go do that, let's go eat here. And so it's probably more of like you just like dating the person and like trying new things with them that ends up happening. I feel like, which is fun and exciting,
But I'm, again, giving you a positive about being single. I feel like every time I give you a positive about being single, you're like, no, it's actually good for you. And I'm like, this whole episode.
I'm like trying to convince you, like actually you're doing great in a relationship. This is why I'm like giving you the counter argument.
This is about being single, bitch. Like, I'm telling you, it's easy.
And I'm the single one. I'm over here like, no, this is why.
You're in that relationship. You're like, don't let Glenn blame me if you break up with him.
Okay for this.
He had like a midlife crisis like 2 or 3 days ago because he was like, I've got a dad bod now. And I was like, well, you're working like 12-hour days in a law firm. Like, yeah, you haven't been to the gym. You're getting the Modelo bello. We call it the Modelo belly.
Modelo belly. That's fine.
The Modelo bello. And he's like, Eve, stop poking. I'm like, well, it's there. You got the dad bod, but no kids. So he got all like in his head about it. And where was I going with this? We were talking about it, and I was thinking, yes, to your point.
That you gain the
Well,
weight whenever you
that you
are.
gain weight. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you're in a relationship, it's. I think that when I was single, I. Well, first of all, for example, he'll skip a workout to hang out with me, right? I'd skip a workout to sleep in with him, right?
Yeah.
So you prioritize the person over working out. When you're single, there's not a person to prioritize besides yourself.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So you really can prioritize yourself. In a relationship, it becomes this like it's harder. So I think that has hurt both of us a little bit. The other thing is that I don't know if this is the millennial or the almond mom in me, but I have a lot of trouble eating a real meal before sex. Like if I'm in a casual relationship with somebody,
Yeah.
because I'm not yet confident in my body in that way with that person because we haven't whatevered a lot, right?
Right.
In a relationship,
I've heard a lot.
and
You know.
PG over here. But like in a relationship, it's like they've seen you naked enough that like if you've got a couple extra pounds on you that night because you ate a big dinner, no one's looking at you being like judging you for it.
I
Or at least
also
I
bet
don't.
the guys are probably not looking at you anyway in that sense, you know? You ever seen
Are
that
you
before?
are you again trying to turn this on me again when I'm trying to tell you the positives about being single?
I'm just
You're
talking
like,
to
it's not
people.
positive. It's not positive.
I'm just saying, like, people in general. Like, have you ever gotten naked and a man's been like, "Ooh, gross! I have to go. You look like you weigh 5 pounds more." Like, and if they
Fair.
did do that, then fuck them, kick them in the balls, and tell them to leave.
Literally. Do you think guys notice? Like, at what point do you think guys notice weight?
I think like 10 pounds.
Like either way.
Yeah.
When I met Glenn, I was 30 pounds larger than I am now. He swears on his life. He's like, no, you're the same person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm like, no.
Because then I don't know. I don't really like discuss weight a lot with a lot of guys. That's more of like girlfriend talk.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I discuss any and everything. Um, okay. So bad decisions. Bad decisions in being single.
I think sometimes you can be lonely and make bad decisions out of loneliness while you're single. Instead of like staying true to like what you're looking for, what you want. I think that comes with being single sometimes.
Yeah, agreed. What's the worst ones you've made while lonely?
Uh Probably kind of, like hooking up with a guy that I really didn't care to hook up with to begin with.
Right.
At the moment or maybe after a little like few drinks, you're like, oh yeah, I could use some of that. But then the next day you're like, okay, that does nothing for me other than the quick 5 minutes or however, like I think that, and I think that's for me something I've learned from all of that is like that doesn't do me any justice while I'm single. I do better when I'm like going after what I want and staying true to myself in that sense instead of like taking it from one extreme to the next, out of like being like
Yeah.
lonely.
I think that the worst decisions I've made while I was single was, and I don't know when it hit me, but pursuing things like putting energy into things that weren't putting energy back into me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And
Guilty.
yeah, it for me, and I would feel drained and exhausted from going after date on date or being the one keeping the conversation going on the dates via text message, etc., out of this sense of like being polite and being kind and it's a numbers game and putting yourself out there and you never know. And then being like, I'm not getting energy back from these individuals. Why the fuck am I putting in all this work? And like realizing that I could just cut those people. I wasn't getting anything from it. I was just doing a second job.
Bad decision while single. Going on dates when you are not in the mood to actually go that night and making yourself
This
go.
makes you more tired,
It makes you more tired, and it's like, I've
more
really
jaded.
come a long way with that of just being like, "I'm not in the mood tonight." And, like, I'm not afraid to say that to some even if I haven't met you, I'll be like, "Listen, like, I've had a long day or a long week. I'm not gonna come as my best self. Like, can we maybe reschedule and do this next week. Because if that's your person, you're going to end up meeting them. And that's what I've learned. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't
1,000%.
force it to try to like speed up the process. You know what I mean?
Mm. Well, and I said this to one of my close friends last year when she started dating this guy and she really wanted to define it very early on. And I said to her, if he's your person, he'll be your person in 20 years. Like, what's the difference of him becoming your boyfriend tomorrow or in 3 months? Like, if he's your person, he's here 20 years from now. It like literally doesn't matter, right? And honestly, probably the more time you take to getting to that define the relationship part, the more you learn, is he your person, before jumping all in and investing all in. And maybe that's the avoidant in me now, but
no, I think it's healthy. It's the slow burn. It's taking the time to really just like hang out, get to know each other. Let's kind of be friends. Like, why do we need to jump straight in the bedroom and start making like titles on everything because we are starting to be intimate? I think that's a bad decision these days.
Right.
Take your time.
And
if you want to have sex, but still take your time, you know?
Yeah. And if you have fears that like he's sleeping around, let me assure you, him giving you the title of girlfriend, if he's the type of guy who's fucking around, is not going to change him being the type of guy who's fucking around. Like,
yeah.
Because I think most guys, if they're into you, they stop seeing other girls even before you like have the conversation. Like, it naturally just gets there.
You know when a guy is into you.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's not a gray matter anymore. Like, let me just say that loud and clear. If it is a gray matter, that means he's not that into you.
He's not into you.
Yeah.
And or you're not there yet. You're still in the early stages, right? And that's okay. But this idea that you need to be exclusive, it's like, do you really think that you guys having the conversation and him saying you're going to be exclusive is going to prevent a man who wants to sleep with other people from sleeping with other people? No. Guess what else? You having this conversation isn't going to make him suddenly want to sleep with other people if he didn't want to. Like, he knows what he wants. The conversation really doesn't change anything except giving you reassurance.
Okay.
And sure.
Question there though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there are sometimes men though will be pursuing the one that they really want, but then because they aren't getting, everything from that person that they're pursuing, they're going to dabble over here and keep their rental cars over here while they're waiting for the Lamborghini? You know what I mean? So they're going to be entertaining a couple of rental cars.
Girls do that too.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's fine. That's just called dating, right? You date and eventually you either cut the people off.
Yeah.
Like the rental cars, as you phrase them. You either stop seeing them, right? Because you focus all your attention in one direction, or you realize it's not working with the Lamborghini and you give up.
Right.
Like, it kind of naturally
the rental cars.
But I'm saying it like, I guess what I'm getting at is that it kind of naturally does that.
Yeah.
And at that point is when you have the conversation. And whether that conversation is 2 months in, 5 months in, 3 weeks in, whatever, naturally you'll get to the conversation. You don't need to force the conversation. If you're trying to have it just to lock him in, like, you shouldn't be using the conversation to ultimatum or using it like to reassure yourself and self-soothe your own anxiety, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Bold opinion. Do you think most women settle?
Do you think most men settle?
Most women.
I think settling is a harsh word. I think most women. So I think a lot of women, I don't want to say settle, but I think they don't hold out for someone who is everything they want on paper, because what's more important, they're happier with a guy who's 75%, but they get to have a family because they get to start early, etc. And they don't want to hold out and see if they're going to find someone who's 100%.
Yeah.
Now, the flip of that is, if what they want above everything is a family, and the guy who checks off 75% of the boxes wants a family, then aren't they kind of getting there 100%?
Yeah.
because that's what they really wanted, right?
And I do think that for women, like love and feelings can grow, right? The more emotionally connected you become, obviously. Whereas I think sometimes men are constantly looking for like check, 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 more like physical and not so much getting to know them on the emotional level at times. When they're dating right off the bat, when they're out there just like looking.
For sure. I think what's really interesting is what I've watched is that the more women become independent and the more women have money and financial means, the more men are expecting that of them. And I find it interesting because they're now expecting us to be Susie Homemaker and be put together and be pretty. But also now they're like, oh, cool, you have a job too. Great. Now pay 50%. And I'm like, so wait, so now I've got to do more, but you still get to be your haggard ass self who doesn't go to the gym.
That's kind of goes back to what we were talking about the other day about women's standards haven't changed and men's sure as hell have.
Yeah. Like, I'm expected to do even more. It's like the more women are given, the more opportunities we're given, the more we're expected to maximize them and be like this Renaissance woman who is a size 4 and always has her nails done, but also has her career and independence and her own friends, but also like isn't a hoe, but also like is, a freak in the bedroom.
Yeah. And also has dinner on the table whenever you come home from work. Also isn't too much masculine. Also still knows how to keep her mouth shut.
And carries your child or 2 or 3 and then breastfeeds them and then goes on maternity leave, but is able to pop back into her career 3 years later.
And makes her size 4 again.
Correct. And contribute 50% to everything because, the man's like, well, you have a job too. Why am I paying for everything? Meanwhile, dad bods are in.
I mean,
riddle me that.
Yeah. I think here's what now, if you can like have like a nice chest, arms, everything.
Oh, you digress down the dad bod trail.
Yeah, I'm going into the dad bod. We're gonna talk about that for a minute. I would rather have that now than like the gym rat who's like having an 8-pack and like macho man, all that stuff. Because I need someone who's gonna eat cheeseburgers with me in bed sometimes,
For sure. I personally do not like a gut. And a lot of dad bods have guts.
Right. That's the difference. Like you don't need an 8-pack. You can still kind of have like a tighter stomach,
Yeah. I personally I can't get on board with the gut.
Yeah.
And
you don't want their pants hanging down below their belly. Always
I'm not in
pants at your navel.
Correct. Ooh, that's a conversation I had to have with my boyfriend last week. I was like, we need to pull the pants up. And he was like, why are we pulling them up? And I was like, well, you got a little bit of a Modelo Bello. So we can cover the Modelo Bello. And well, he was like, you're gut shaming me. And I was like, well, you got one. So is it shaming or is it fact?
I'm over here like, oh, poor Glenn.
Fine. He's fine. I mean, someone's probably going to troll me and be like, he's going to break up with you. Well, you know what? If he does, he's not my person.
No, because he knows that you're kind of halfway joking / also being honest. You know what I mean?
I mean, he also knows we stopped at the liquor store last night to get ice cream.
It's like him saying like, oh, when are you going to dye your hair blonde? That's like y'all's like back and forth.
Which he does ask me on a regular basis. Yeah. He's like, so what's the plan with the hair? And I'm like,
oh my God. Can we like get you a wig and you like let him come over one night, like a good wig, and just wear that and be like, oh, I thought we could role play. I'm going to be Blonde Eve tonight.
What people don't know is I used to have extensions and I used to have blonde hair for the past like 15 years of my life. I had blonde hair down to here. And I realized the combination of the highlights for 15 years and the extensions and the being on semi-glutide and the egg freezing, all of it, I was losing my hair. So we're on a hair growth journey. And as a part of that, I went back to my natural color or like pretty close there too. And I took my extensions out and I'm doing like 5 million different hair oils and supplements and all kinds of stuff, which Anya says I should get PRP, PFP, whatever that P thing is.
We can do that next week.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but she told me I should talk to you about it. But my boyfriend's celebrity crush is Blake Lively, and he's obsessed with long, blonde, messy hair. And he's literally like looking at me like, so when's it going to be blonde again? And I was like, bitch, we got to grow it out first. And then we can slowly dabble in the highlights.
That's what you got to do on April Fool's Day.
He would kill me. Kill me.
See, those are the pranks that I would like want to play on my boyfriend. I would be like, okay, let me just be a little sarcastic, but also kind of fun.
Oh, well, when I was at the hairdresser, I kept texting him about my bangs. I was like, I was showing him all these AI photos, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting bangs. And he was like, Eve, he was like, really? Did I tell you this, that we made a deal that if I didn't get bangs, I could get a kitten?
Wait, you getting another cat?
No, it was more so I just wanted to get him to agree.
Oh,
Like, so
oh, my facial expression. I was like, another animal? Like, really?
oh, you when I had four. I had four like 6 years ago. I had 3 cats and a dog. Yeah, it was the farm. But you're looking at me like, okay,
No,
yeah.
I got a text message from somebody, and I was like, who is that?
Greasy?
Gym Crush.
Oh. Have y'all set up a date yet?
I think that's what he was doing just now, but he doesn't know I'm out of town, so we'll see.
Okay. We like him.
Anyway.
We like him. Yeah, so I made a deal with him that
Sorry.
Did you just put that together?
Yeah, I was like blanking for a second. Maybe one day we'll tell you some stories. Maybe when we do a subscription, y'all can subscribe and we'll really deep dive on some stories. I'm not one to like put out my dating life. I won't do that out of respect, but like, old dating life, I'll tell y'all about.
But like, here's the thing: every girl calls guys by like code names. That's normal, right? Anyways, I was calling this guy from her past Greasy. Well, I guess he's like kind of present / past. Is he passed yet?
He's passed.
Have you ended it? Have you snipped?
No. No, not yet.
What celebrity recently snipped their balls? Somebody recently snipped their balls.
I don't know.
Oh no, we're completely wrong. They didn't snip their balls. They untied their balls to have kids.
Oh.
Or is that tubes? No.
No, I mean you can do a reverse vasectomy.
Well, they did that. Whatever that is, they did that. And it was somebody who was trying to have kids that they had done that. I don't remember who it was.
Old
It was in the paper.
opinion. It's easier for men to get vasectomies than women to get tube ties.
Yeah, it's also easier for men to wear condoms than women to get fucking copper IUDs implanted in them. But who's asking? Like, bold opinion.
Bold opinion.
Easier to prevent pregnancy than get pregnant.
True.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
A lot easier to prevent if you think about it.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, last segment because we've digressed. Why do men? What's your question of the day? I have a couple.
Why do men
go fishing?
I like to go fishing.
Do you eat the fish?
I mean, I have before.
Do you regularly eat the fish?
Like,
but most times don't you throw the fish back in?
Yeah.
Oh, so what? You just get a fish and bring it in and then throw it back?
Okay, no. Am I going fishing in Los Angeles? No, let's just make that clear. But
immediately we're like, I go fishing. Like, when's the last time you went fishing, Brittany?
Well, I was supposed to go on a fishing date, but the motherfucker never reached out after he asked me. Why do men? There we go.
I'm going to ask us on dates and then never contact us again. Like, what was the point?
They ask you on dates and then they never follow up. Okay, like, thanks for wasting my time.
But honestly, that's a good one. Why do they? Because it's like, if you're a man and you know the answer, let us know. It's like, why go through the hoop jumping of asking for your phone number, texting me, setting up a date, only to then just disappear?
Oh, I had a man the other night reach out on Instagram, ask for my phone number, call me. We proceed to chat about doing something that evening. And I was like, yeah, I'd be up for it. I was going to have a chill night, but like something low key. And he was like trying to formulate a plan. I'm not going to suggest it. You called me. And then he goes,
like, trying to think.
Like, trying to think. I had made like some places that were nearby. Like, you just got to pick one, dude. It ain't that freaking hard. And
30 minutes from now, TikTok.
And an hour and a half goes by when we hang up. And then they reach out. Okay, so how about here in 30 minutes? I said, I'm going to put on my pajamas and ordered food. I thought you went MIA. I'm not coming out tonight last minute. Like,
now.
Why do men? Like, how hard is it to just say, hey, how about we meet here at this time on this day? What do you think?
Also, why do they make it so difficult? Like, You've got your men who are like, I don't want to spend all this money on a dinner for a first date. Cool, fine.
Let's go to the park. Bring a picnic.
Right. Or there's the, I don't know where to go, blah, blah, blah. Okay, not a big deal. Literally, bottle of wine park.
Yes, how great. I would love to go to Palisades Park and sit in there and talk. Bring a little
cocktail bar,
yeah.
2 drinks.
There you go.
Happy hour, beer.
Yes.
Like, it is that fucking simple.
Yeah. Just
should last 2 hours. 2 hours. 6 to 8, 7 to 9. Move on with your life. See if it was a match. Not difficult.
That's my why do men. But also, I think men like to go fishing. One, I think it's very peaceful. It probably gives them a chance to just...
Hey, wait, hold please. Do you actually think men need more peace? They're like, their brains don't go very quickly.
But I think men need activities. And so that gives them an activity to do while they're like, you know, whatever they're thinking about. I don't know. Like,
is this like male meditation?
That's what they're going to do. Like, who knows? So he can, you know, feel accomplished if he catches a fish while he's trying to formulate a 2-hour plan. Like, I don't know.
Guys skip rocks, and I'm like, what are we doing here, kids? I got 4 hops. And you're like, cool.
Well, I mean, if you're like bored camping, that's like an entertaining activity.
Yeah, but have you ever met a man who could like see a ball and not want to pick it up and do something with it? Or a stick or a rock?
I mean,
they're like dogs. Have you ever thought about this? Men are dogs. They're literally like, ball, stick.
They have
that's
like,
what I imagine.
You know, they get the
literally squirrel brains. I think if somebody did a deep dive of men's brains, they would find that they are smaller than ours or have less activity.
Well, according to a study, their brains don't emotionally mature until 43, and ours mature at 32. So that's a long time.
And they die 8 years before us. So the amount of time that we're smart is like the difference between 32 and 43. That's 11 years more that we're smart. Plus they're dying 8 years before. So we got another extra 8 years. So for 19 years more, which is effectively 20% of our life, we are more emotionally mature.
Yeah. Damn.
20% of our adult life. 25% of our adult life. Math.
I mean, and I think that's like the common, maybe like world emotionally mature. I'd like to see what the statistics are for Los Angeles emotionally mature.
So did you see the TikTok I made last week talking about 40-year-old men?
I don't think so. My TikTok's
okay,
all over the place lately.
I have a theory. Recently, I've noticed so many 40-year-old men being like, I'm ready to get married, like talking about it on the apps, whatever, being like, I'm looking, you know, all of this, like suddenly the lights went off. And I'm like, did the lights go off or did the 24-year-olds just stop being willing to go on dates with you? If the 24-year-old was still going on dates and banging you, would the light have gone off?
Yeah.
Because I think the light goes off when the 24-year-old stops answering your call. I think that's why Shep's light went off.
100%, because Shep was starting to show his age.
Mm-hmm.
I think there comes a time.
I don't think men are wired to want to commit ever.
I will be a devil's advocate and say that I think it goes for both men and women. I think women at times too start to not look like the 24-year-olds anymore, and they're like, oh shit, I gotta lock one down. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it happens earlier for us too.
Happens earlier, right? But I do think that
it doesn't seem so old and creepy. I guess that's what I'm getting at, right?
Old and creepy, whereas girls can get away with it a little bit longer, or some guys like older girls. You know what I mean?
Right, like a 45-year-old man, like, or 47-year-old man preying on a 24-year-old seems old and creepy, but like a 28-year-old woman realizing she's about to turn 30 and settling down doesn't seem old and creepy.
No,
but yes, the same process happens.
Fun fact story about the Why Do Men guy that was in the DMs. He was like in his late 40s, and he was like, "Yeah, I just don't know why I'm not married with babies yet." And I'm thinking, "Gee, Einstein, let me tell you, it's because you can't plan a date."
If you can't plan a date, I can be sure that you can't plan the
future.
Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ, men. Well, on that note,
I love sometimes to just respond with what I really want to respond to. I should try that.
At least do it on our podcast stuff. Like you should. I don't give a fuck. Like blow their shit up. Blow it up.
I would
I'll
love
come
to
there.
like just really tell them.
Tell you this now. You should. I want you to. It's real. It's truthful. Let's go. Because
I'm always like, yeah, I don't know why. Let me tell you, motherfucker, I do know why.
Podcast, and I'm like, bitch, let's be honest here. Let's be honest. And also, like, that's not even you. You're nice, but you ain't that nice. I love you, but you got some spice. Let's show some spice. Okay. On that note, shall we wrap it up? Is there any last thoughts that you want to say that I didn't ask you about that are important?
No, I think we did pretty decent today as far as our bold opinions and our bad decisions. I think we can entertain y'all a lot with some bad decisions as they come out. So stay tuned for more.
Yeah.